YouTube, this is Stash coming at you as the Polish American blogger capacity tonight. I want to talk about the great General Stanisław Sosabowski, who was deeply involved in the Battle of Arnhem, or Arnhem, forgive me. You may have or may have not heard of or seen the famous war movie A Bridge Too Far. The part of General Sosabowski was played by Gene Hackman in that film. I would say it's probably considered one of the biggest war films ever made. It's got to be up there. It's pretty huge. Sean Connery, Ryan O'Neal, Robert Redford, Hackman, Maximilian von Schnell, or Maximilian Schnell. So he had fought in World War I, and then he had fought in the war against Russia. He had fought against Germany and the invasion of Poland in 1939. He proved to be very effective in that. He was captured in France and then escaped and joined the joined the British in the Polish army in exile. So at some point he became a paratrooper. He had been in an elite rifleman corps, I believe, and he had shown great success in the early period of the German invasion of Poland. In any case, the controversial part is if you've seen that movie Bridge Too Far, you might recall that Gene Hackman kind of plays the general, the Polish general, as being pissed off, and expressing his view that the market garden plan was awful. So if I can just briefly go, I'm going to look into here. So he was serving under Great Britain. Assigned to the 4th Rifles Brigade. Okay, so he actually transformed that brigade into a parachute brigade. Okay, the first such unit of the Polish army. So I'll leave this in the liner notes. So the contentious part is at the Battle of Arnhem. During the planning of Operation Market Garden, Sosabowski expressed serious concerns regarding the feasibility of the mission. Among Sosabowski's concerns were the poorly conceived drop zones at Arnhem, the long distances between the landing zones and the Arnhem Bridge, and that area would contain a greater German presence than British intelligence believed. So this is Wikipedia, so take certain elements for what it is. But despite his concerns and warnings from the Dutch resistance that 2 SS Panzer Divisions within the operations area, Market Garden proceeded as planned. So if you saw that movie, you know that because of this complete mess up, basically by the British, a lot of guys got wasted. So as the character played by Sean Connery, I think all his guys got wasted. So it didn't go well. Am I going conspiratorial on you? Yeah, I think so. Or do I think there's something more to it? Yeah. I think he was scapegoated for the failure on this, and General Montgomery praised him, and then shortly after he scapegoated Sosabowski for the failure of Market Garden. He was accused of criticizing Montgomery and don't forget, the Poles were basically betrayed at Yalta by their commander Churchill, a great hero. FDR is a great hero. Again, as I say in all my vlogs, don't forget the Polish weren't allowed to march on Victory Day. Their exiled leader and president of their exiled government was mysteriously killed in a plane crash. And, you know, if they had heeded what he said, maybe they wouldn't have screwed up so bad at Market Garden, which was very bad. A lot of Allied soldiers were lost in that. According to the blog Polish Greatness, which I'll leave link in liner notes to, this author to this blog saying no other Allied general during World War II had been so vilified and ostracized by British command as General Stanisław Sosabowski. He was commander of the Polish 1st Independent Parachute Brigade, which fought valiantly at Market Garden. To the rest of the world, he has faded into virtual obscurity. So he had Sosabowski attempted to divert disaster by warning British command of their flawed strategy, but it was not heeded nor tolerated, and ultimately resulted in the swift and humiliating dismissal of his command. Sosabowski was a brilliant strategist with a illustrious career in the military, yet British command made him a scapegoat so they could avoid admitting their own culpability in this tragic debacle. Now, at the risk of getting into trouble myself, I say, is there a little bit more to this? And I'm going to vlog about this at the risk of being called a revisionist. There's two things that could have happened. The British, as this is stating, and as even the Wikipedia is stating, which Wikipedia tends to be a little vanilla, I say sometimes, but they tries to be accurate, but, you know, there's not some, you know, sometimes it feels like some of it's a little bit basic, if you will. So, right, so there's no way to, I mean, no matter how well the British would argue their position, or they've said something like he was stubborn or insubordinate, well, good, that's what a guy who's a paratrooper is. Again, there's no excuse that can be made, because he warned that it was a screw-up, and the screw-up happened. So that's all I got pretty much on this one for now, but I'm going to continue looking into this. So let's just recap. Basically, the general, Stanisław Sosabowski, warned the British about this Market Garden screw-up, and they didn't take his warning seriously. Montgomery praised him and then scapegoated him behind his back. It certainly wasn't his fault that they so badly screwed up this battle. So much to the point where they had Gene Hackman playing the guy, which I think it was, you know, he played it well, but I think it was a bit understated, because he just said, "What your silence? What does it mean?" or whatever. I'll leave. Some guy's got a clip of that, and I'll leave that in my liner notes. But again, let's take a look at some of the basic facts This is not revisionist history. This is not lies. This is not anti-American to bring this up. The Polish exile president his plane mysteriously went down. Don't forget General Patton was mysteriously murdered as well, or in a mysterious accident as well. Sosabowski warned that Market Garden was idiocy, stupid, and a real bad idea. And they went forward with it, and everybody got wasted, right? And he's been forgotten into obscurity to the point where when the war ended, he went to work in England. He worked in a factory. I mean, I'll put it frankly, it sounds like he was a peon. He became a peon he was a war hero, a freaking war hero. Came back working in a factory as a low-level factory worker or a mid-level factory worker, whatever. And guys didn't even know who he was. Just like the 303 Kosciuszko Squadron was the best squadron in World War II in terms of kills and everything, which is, nobody knows that. Look it up. The Battle of Britain was the worst air battle. They were the best of the best. Nobody knows them. Relatively recently, there was a movie about it, and if you look in the platforms, it just says Men of Honor now. And the movie is pretty understated, but it was nice of the guy from Game of Thrones to act in it, right? Yeah. So you get my point. The Allies are much more comfortable by sweeping everything that happened to Poland and the Polish exile army. And as I've mentioned in every one of my blogs, Polish-American guys are very suppressed, in my opinion. Nobody knows who Colonel Matt Irvine is, and nobody really puts in the connection with Francis Gabby Gabreski. As a guy from Poland came on my YouTube to talk about it, he asked me, quote unquote, "Is it true? You're from America. Is there Polish jokes?" And what was I going to say? No? Yeah, there is. Why has that come about? I don't know. I will address that in another vlog. But, yeah, Bridge Too Far. Take a look at it. Take a look at Gene Hackman's part, the general. I'm going to leave in the liner notes the link-ups to the writing of this blog, Polish Greatness, which I like, and the Wikipedia on the general. And again, I'm saying there's something suspicious about it because that is what I suspect. I have not stated, for the record, any kind of revisionist history in this blog. But, you know, if you're from Poland or you're Polish American, you should know about this. You should tell people about this. You should maybe look into it. Okay? So, this guy is yet another great man who kind of lived out the rest of his life working in a factory, and I think in more recent years he was awarded posthumously some serious medals and stuff, so that's good. I'm disappointed in the behavior of General Montgomery. As an American, I admire him in some ways for fighting. I never thought he was anywhere near the talent of General Patton, who could have probably ended this war a lot sooner than he did. That being said, the American people have to realize also that the British were in the war a lot longer. And this is blasphemous for saying, but the Russians were too. And everybody knows, not the Soviets, not the communists, but the Russian people, the Russian blood was spilled in great quantities as well. As I've said in other vlogs, it's been a tragedy that Slavic brother against brother fought each other before that, but really the most blood that was shed to win World War II was Slavic blood. That would be the Poles and the Russians, right? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Stalingrad, Kursk, and other battles like that were the worst. There was nothing like the Eastern Front. The Americans were brilliant in the Pacific, there's no question. But the worst of the war was over in the ice-cold, dreaded Eastern Front. This has been another Stash vlog, Polish and Polish American people. Get on here and tell me what you know about the general. Alright, hey, Dobranoc, peace out.